You know, it's sad to admit this, but I spent the best part of 10 years drinking way too much alcohol and pretty much just around all of the time. I made very little progress in my life and pretty much just kept going around in circles, stopping and starting drinking. I tried to stop, I'd fail. I tried to stop, I'd fail. I'd make a bit of progress here and I'd go back to drinking again. And that was my life for almost 10 years. And in fact, when I look back at that 10-year period, any success or any good things that happened in my life, they always came from when I accumulated a period of sobriety. I might have stopped drinking for a month and then read a bunch of books. You know, I had a period where I stopped drinking for 7, 8, 9 months and I built a personal training business. And I would have these pockets of time where I wouldn't drink and I'd start making YouTube videos. I've tried to do this channel for like 8 years and the only time that I ever made any progress on it was when I wasn't drinking alcohol. But then every single time that I'd drink, I'd still have goals. I still wanted a better life, but I'd never make progress on those goals. I'd go on some crazy binge and all the progress that I'd made, I'd just destroy. You know, I might have been drinking and then got 3 workouts in that week, but then that weekend, I'd just drink all the progress away. But that was all until I made a discovery. And the discovery that I'm gonna break down for you in this video today is the reason why I've been able to build the life that I've been able to build over the past 6 years. See, I've not touched a drop of alcohol for 6 years and my life has completely flipped around. I went from being completely financially broke, living in my friend's place in his room while he was away on holiday, having to borrow money off my family, working in a restaurant, pretty much being at ground zero after I finished university, to being able to travel the world, build this online business, get into another relationship, get in the best shape of my life. And all this happened because of a discovery that I made that I'm going to break down for you in this video today. Now, a very quick introduction. My name is Leon Sylvester. I haven't drank for 6 years after 10 years of trial and error, and now I run a company called SoberClear. And if you go to soberclear.com, you can learn more about how we actually work with business owners and professionals and help them change their alcohol beliefs to make stopping drinking feel like the flick of a switch in their brain. My method works quickly. It works in as little as 48 hours. There's accountability, there's coaching, and in short, there's nobody else doing what I do. So if you want details on the program and how it works, just go to soberclear.com to learn a little bit more about that. But now let's get into this concept. So I've often asked myself, why was I able to make so much progress so quickly after stopping drinking after such a long period of time just making mistake after mistake after mistake? Now, I'm not saying that I'm some miracle worker or some massive success or anything like that, but if I look at the trajectory of my life while I was drinking, it was like this. And then as soon as I stopped drinking, I felt like it just went like that. See, when I stopped drinking alcohol, I made more progress in the first 3 months of stopping drinking than I'd probably made in 3 years of being a drinker. See, when I was drinking, there'd be this cycle. I'd get into a place of pain where I might have a hangover, I might have said something to the wrong person, I might have started a fight, I've just done something stupid. And I'd have this feeling of pain, which would turn into anger because I'd be annoyed at myself for making the same mistakes. And that anger would lead into action. And this is when I'd stop drinking alcohol and start turning my life around. But the reason why I was able to make so much progress so quickly all lies on a chemical in our brain, and it's dopamine. Now, to understand why this is so important and how you can use this chemical to your advantage, we actually need to go back to a study that was done in the 1950s. See, in the 1950s, researchers James Olds and Peter Milner conducted a series of experiments in which they implanted electrodes into the brains of rats. These electrodes were placed in regions associated with the brain's reward system, particularly areas linked to dopamine release. The rats were given the ability to self-administer electrical stimulation to these brain regions by pressing a lever. Now, the findings were astonishing. The rats would repeatedly press the lever to receive the pleasurable stimulation, sometimes neglecting basic survival needs like eating and drinking. In extreme cases, the rats would continue pressing the lever until they collapsed from exhaustion or even died. This experiment highlighted the powerful role of dopamine in the brain's reward system and demonstrated how stimulating this system can drive behavior to the point of addiction. It underscored the idea that the pursuit of rewarding experiences mediated by dopamine can become so compelling that it overrides other essential behaviors. So when I was drinking alcohol, I was essentially acting like this rat that was hooked on dopamine. I would often neglect basic needs like food, like, being hydrated, exercise. I would neglect all of this stuff and instead I'd drink. And I would often use alcohol as a way to escape from actually doing the work that I knew I needed to do. See, my drinking was nothing more than escapism with drug addiction. Now, here's the interesting thing. Once I removed that source of dopamine from my life, I changed the way that I viewed alcohol, I completely shifted my beliefs, and I got into a state of mind where I didn't want to drink. I removed this source of dopamine, and here's the crazy thing. I went back to the exact same cycle that got me sober in the first place. Once I got sober, I felt intense pain. I remember looking at my life and thinking, what have I become? I was in my mid-20s, I was at ground zero, I remember calling my nana asking to borrow £500 to buy some food. I remember looking in the mirror, seeing this bloated face. Oh, it was just gross. I'd already broken up with my girlfriend, I'd had to sell my car. I was just in a terrible, terrible place. And because I'd stopped drinking alcohol, I had clarity, right? I was able to see the situation and I felt nothing but pain. It sucked. It was one of the worst feelings I've ever had. But that pain soon led into anger. And I was angry at myself. I was looking at me and I was thinking, what have you done? Why are you doing this to yourself? And that anger led into action. And what I started doing was I started associating dopamine with positive change. Because I'd removed this massive source of dopamine, it was like my levels reset. And now instead of escaping with alcohol, I was able to go back to the gym. I was able to get into another relationship. I was able to build an online business, do a tremendous amount of work. And this really is the secret to getting what you want in life. It's removing this source of dopamine, removing alcohol from your life, and then taking positive action in the direction that you want your life to go. That's all I did. Is I removed that source of dopamine, and then all of a sudden I was getting pleasure from working on a business, from being in a relationship, from, exercising, through eating the right kind of foods. I was getting dopamine from this instead of that instant source of instant gratification. And even to this day, this is something that I still monitor. Today I'm having an amazing day because I didn't go on my phone this morning, I've not messaged anybody, I didn't check my emails, and I've come downstairs to do the most important thing that I need to do today, which is filming these videos. I know that if I sit on my phone in the morning or go in the emails or do anything that kind of increases dopamine, I always find doing the hard work, which might be making videos or going to a gym, I always find it much harder. But this is really the secret to getting what you want in life. It's removing those cheap, nasty sources of dopamine that don't get you where you want to go and replacing it by getting dopamine from having the inputs that you know that you need to have to work on your long-term goals. Again, if you want details on how I help people stop drinking, go over to soberclear.com. And if you click the video on the screen now, you can learn why everybody is quitting drinking. Have a great day.